Do-hee proposes Young-won to marry her but without even a second thought Young-won rejects her offer. Do-hee is shocked and internally thinks how stupid she is. She gets angry and walks away. But Young-won follows her as it's his job to protect her as a bodyguard. Later, Young-won gets a call from Do-hee, asking to meet with her outside. Do-hee mad as someone took a picture of her getting rejected and posted online. She asks for an explanation as to why he rejected her. Young-won says he just wants to stay single, and asks why did she chose him of all the people there. She had no answer to that. Young-won thinks she had fallen for him and makes fun of her, which irritates her, and she walks away. Elsewhere, a gang is eager to take their revenge on Young-won. One of them brings the information on him. At home, Young-won dreams of his past. As he wakes up, he gets shocked as the memories from his past life are coming back. His butler teases him, saying how it's because of him currently being a mere human, and without his powers he will soon age and die like all humans. Young-gu is now concerned about his health. He asks Do-hee to let him hold her wrist so that he can heal himself from aging, but she refuses, reminding him how ruthlessly he rejected her marriage proposal. Young-won keeps trying to hold her wrist, but she keeps resisting. Later, Do-hee starts to look for the culprits, and Young-gu tries to help. He holds her wrist and tries to summon the criminal who tries to kill her. But since the criminal was wearing a face mask when Young-won saw him, he couldn't summon him. Young thinks he lost her powers. He tries to use his powers on someone else but gets both of them teleported to a storeroom, where they hear the office employees gossiping about Do-hee and Young-won's relationship. Both of them get embarrassed hearing them talking about them. As they hear something and come inside, Young-won teleports outside. Elsewhere, the gang leader is pissed since they aren't able to find out Young-won's whereabouts. He notices a letter inside the plate, which had details regarding Young-won. Later, Do-hee and Young-won goes out to eat together with their office employees. Young-won is tempted to hold Do-hee's wrist as he feels uneasy. As they're enjoying their drink, Young-won suddenly grabs her wrist, which startled her. She suddenly makes excuses for it. Choi sees them holding hands under the table. One of them asks why did he reject Do-hee's marriage proposal, and if he likes her. Young-won accepts that he does like her, but it doesn't mean that he has to marry her. Do-hee isn't so happy hearing that. She walks away from there. Young-won goes after her, but finds a bunch of gangsters coming after him. Meanwhile, Do-hee is worried and calls him, but Young-won is surrounded. He tricks and runs away from there, but few meters ahead gets caught up again. He tries to fight, but one guy hits him on the head and he starts to bleed. As they were about to hit him again, Do-hee comes. She uses a pepper spray gun and runs towards Young-won. Young-won quickly grabs her wrist and uses magic to heal himself. With his magic powers, it was a child's play to beat up everyone there. As they dance together, even a cold-hearted demon like Young-won realizes that he has fallen in love with a human girl. Young-won starts ignoring her. He quickly drops her home and leaves an instant as Do-hee watches him in confusion. He is upset and angry that he has fallen in love with a human. Meanwhile, Do-hee is curious as to why Young-won started ignoring her all of a sudden. She goes to see him in his house, where she meets with Young-won's female friend Jean. She is jealous of Young-won and her relationship. She asks her to leave immediately, but Do-hee refuses, stating she has a special relationship with the owner, and moves ahead. She goes inside where she notices the clock room and books. She goes to grab a book, but Young-won comes and stops her. Jean comes there and flirts with Young-won to make Do-hee jealous. Young-won makes her leave the room. Do-hee asks who is the girl, but Young-won refuses answer. He also asks not to put her nose into his personal life. Do-hee says she's just came to see him since he was acting so weird lately. Young-won rudely says that he doesn't want to be with her. Do-hee gets sad and leaves from there. As she leaves, Young-won asks his butler Mr. Park to drop her home safely. Elsewhere, Myri Company acting chairman Sun Do-kyung and Do-hee's stalker Gwang Cole plans to find an opportunity and kidnap Do-hee. Elsewhere, Young-won is waiting for Do-hee. She comes in a rush and sits at the back seat, ignoring Young-won as if she's angry with him. After that, Do-hee's stalker Gwang Cole arrives at the office in a disguise. After that meeting, Do-kyung notices the tattoo on Do-hee's wrist as if he knows something about it. Later, Young-won meets with Joo-suk. Joo-suk thanks Young-won for protecting Do-hee, but Young-won isn't so happy seeing him but rather jealous. Later she goes to meet with a guy on a date, who happens to be a prosecutor. Despite not wanting to, Doohee decides to marry him. The fact that Doohee is gonna marry someone like that irritates Youngwon. He decides to find her stalker Gwang Cole and end this so that he can cut ties with Doohee. They go to the gang leader's base, where he asks him to recognize the picture of Gwang Cole, and uses force to make him speak. But Doohee stops him. Youngwon gets frustrated. He couldn't express his feelings towards her. Doohee frees him from his duty, and he leaves from there in frustration. Doohee gets back home unaware of the upcoming danger. She hears a sound music coming from outside her room. She goes to check, but gets caught. Gwang uses the chloroform on her. She later finds herself hanging down the building and freaks out. Gwang comes there and starts cutting the cloth, but as he notices someone coming he gets back. The cloth tears from the weight, and she falls, but Youngwon miraculously saves her. Doohee didn't expect him to come. Gwang comes and attacks Youngwon, and they both fell down the building. Youngwon uses his magic and teleport and staircase inside the building. Doohee is so scared, she tightly hugs Youngwon, and he hugs her back. Joo Suk comes and sees them both together. Later, Joo Suk asks her to marry him. Right at that moment Youngwon comes asking her to marry him instead. Doohee gets confused and asks for some time to think. After that, she asks Youngwon why did he ask her to marry him when he has already rejected her before. Youngwon replies that he just can't let her die. Later during a company function, she informs acting company chairman Noah that she gonna get married tomorrow and take back the company. The next day, walking towards her groom slowly, who happens to be none other than Youngwon, Doohee has chosen him, but there's a contract between them that there will be no intimacy between them whatsoever, and the marriage will end when both of their goals meet their end. Both of them get married. Later, during the photo shoot, they're asked to kiss each other. Youngwon refuses, but Doo says it's necessary to act as a couple. Youngwon slowly goes near her and looks into her eyes, and kisses her slowly as an act. Youngwon moved into Doohee's house, but finds her living room in a mess. He uses his magic to clean up the room. Joo Suk isn't happy with the marriage, so he begins to dig for information about Youngwon and his past. The next morning Youngwon wakes up, goes in the living to find her eating breakfast. While eating she informs Youngwon that she has a suspect who might have killed Madame Joo, who happens to be Madame Joo's grandson Dookyung. They start following him. They notice him getting inside a subway. Youngwon uses magic to teleport themselves in the subway, and teleports inside a photo booth. Dookyung opens a locker but finds it empty and gets confused but notices someone watching him. He steps towards the photo booth. Youngwon tries to use magic to escape but it doesn't work. He couldn't think of anything so he holds Doohee's face and kisses her, leaving Doohee shocked but she doesn't resist. Thanks for watching till the end. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments section below.